That's not bad, but it's too much sky.
Did you have it up or something?
That's what I'm trying. Okay. This.
Is your home fire-wise?
Maybe if I put it here.
There you go. Or use the tissue pad.
Wait. Oh, I got it.
Really?
Yeah, it's locked in now.
Good.
Is it? Yeah, it's recording.
Sweet.
Alright. Get you a cigarette when you need it. Or we'll stop it.
Yeah, it'll be a long time anyways. I just don't have some good.
Let's go.
Were we watching a video?
Oh, yeah.
With our physics knowledge we have now, could never work because you break down all.
Here's some of the size of these trees. You can just see them. Hard to believe. And here's the American chestnut. They was all in here too. They was the tallest. But a black came in the 30s, all the way up into the 40s, and killed them all out. As time went on, they just developed better and better, more technology to get these logs out of these mountains. But the bad part is, they was clear cut, and they was destroying the environment. And people was trying to put an end to this. Logging's one thing, but clear cut was another. So they tried in the 1890s to preserve this park. Bills was presented in the state legislatures and in the government, but they always
It's a
failed.
huge mountain.
But finally,
And we're kind of going across the
Calvin
flattest
Coolidge,
parts.
in 1926, he finally got a bill passed and he signed in Congress to make this a park. And the park started with 150,000 acres. And as time went on, it grew more and more. The little communities then, from logging communities, they turned into like resorts, health resorts, just getaways. And the trains hauling logs, they was hauling visitors, passengers.
Hello, I'm Patrick Stewart. Did you know that right now?
Now in 1933, Franklin D. Roosevelt was elected. It was during the Depression, a bad time. So he started, he's going to help the country and straighten everything out. So he started the New Deal. Part of the New Deal was a CCC, a Civilian Conservation Corps. And they would go around the country repairing the infrastructure, even here in the Smokies. This is a camp at Cades Cove.
Huge camps.
And they worked just like they did around the country, repairing roads, bridges, buildings, clearing land, forestry service, whatever needed to be done. And most of the trails that you walk on today in the Smokies was created by the CCC. They even built the observation platform deck here at Newfound Gap. And here on September 2nd, 1934, Franklin D. Roosevelt came in to commemorate the park. They had a pretty good crowd here too. Here's the pictures. all the CCC, they built stuff like the Newfound Gap Road Tunnel on 441 across the Smokies. Here's an old picture.
Road between these mountains.
And they even
Big
started
creek,
building
this big water.
Queen's Dome.
Yeah, that's what we saw.
Oh yeah.
Back in 57.
Wow,
It was opened in 59. Here's the plans. And here it is when it opened. Beautiful structure. High on top of the highest point in the Smokies. Here it is today. It's at an elevation of 6,644 feet.
We'll get money
Here's
back.
some of the views. Breathtaking.
I might double down on my one piece.
Yes.
On a clear day, you could see Knoxville. Now here's the Cage Cove. Here's the tunnel. And here's typical Cage Cove. Bumper to bumper. You'll stop a mile back. You don't know what's going on ahead of you. Somebody's seen an animal. Most likely a bear like this. They are beautiful animals, but you leave them alone. This place is crowded. Here's some of the sights at Cage Cove. Such vast beauty.
Riverbed or something?
Yeah, it's that water.
One of the many
Like a
creeks
dam.
that run through Cage Cove.
German.
Right out of these mountains, this water's like ice water. Now this is just a few of the structures of Cage Cove. This is the old mill.
Is that
That
temple?
white building, yeah.
Oh, just
They covered up their windows.
This is the Tipton place. So many old structures here at Cage Cove. I can only show you a few.
Shout out to all of them. Wow, this is a pretty big developed area.
This is the Rolling Fork area. It's such a beautiful place out of Mount LeConte.
From here to that mountain.
All this comes out of Mount LeConte. Little community all down the foot of this mountain. Pioneers.
Yeah, so it's showing the same one 15 times.
Right.
Showing different ones. Jack and me.
This is only a fraction of what's in this area.
Those logs. Planks.
Here's Newfound Gap parking lot today on the border of North Carolina and Tennessee. Here's just some of the old graveyards. This is one of them in the Sugarlands area. Beautiful old sites to preserve. The pioneers that once settled this country. This is old Elkhorn itself. The old building used to be the resort.
this area.
I reckon they've not decided if they're going to tear them down or restore some of them. And here's some
Where's that one?
signs of the past. Here in the Smokies off the beaten trail where they used to log. You can still find remnants of
Yeah,
it.
it's huge.
But on the, remember on the
Time
map,
goes
it
by.
wasn't even as big as the.
Now this whole park is
Not nearly as
full
big as
of
the one we're
trails
going to.
everywhere you want to go.
Right.
And they're in nice shape, most of them.
It's
But
crazy.
this is no place to play around. This is still wilderness. Now, to this day, there's still 5 people missing in the Great Smoky Mountains. Here's a map of where they was missing and the dates they went missing. So this place is still wilderness. People get lost, accidents happen. But please, be safe on these trails. Always be safe. Now, this old park is the most visited national park in the country. It has over 12 million visitors a year. The one that comes close and second is Grand Canyon National Park, which is 6.2 million. And third is Rocky Mountain National Park, 4.6 million. And fourth is Zion National Park,
But it's
with
amazing you can drive
4.4
to from
million.
so many major areas.
So,
8-hour drive is not
The
even that
Smokies
bad.
doubles
And we're
on
by
the
Atlanta and
second
all these big
place.
cities down here too.
Oh, yeah.
All
Got
these
the traffic
cities near
here, 12 million
basically.
visitors. You can imagine
That
the
makes
time.
sense.
Here, Highway
I have to go
66
back
between
They were like, this is like one of
the Smokies and I-40
places in the
at
country.
times
To
is
visit,
what it
yeah.
looks
So it's like, this is
all
amazing.
3
I don't know,
lanes.
people come out down here year
And
after
they've been
year to
working on
visit.
roads
Oh,
here
so
for
much more.
30
Look at
years.
this. This is beautiful.
Here's a picture of Gatlinburg back in 1949.
Me neither.
Looks awful peaceful, don't it? Serene,
Like the Wild West.
beautiful.
Right. Wow, Appalachia.
Here's Gatlinburg today. Sometimes worse.
It feels like we're in Tennessee. Like, it feels like we're on the same. I don't know.
But it's such a beautiful place. Can't blame anybody for trying to get in here. Well, I hope you enjoyed this bit of history. I love showing it and sharing it to you. So, I want to thank y'all for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Ooh, let's watch a missing person. One of those missing person cases. A couple of them were recent.
Yeah.
It was spectacular, so beautiful.
I thought I was going to heaven.
Oh, it was electric.
I'm getting chills talking about it.
It gets a 10 from me, that's for sure.
It was that good.
Absolutely marvelous.
Hands down the best show I've ever seen.
This is a video on all 5 of them.
Hello and welcome to Missing Persons Mysteries.
The whole length of the video.
Nestled within the majestic peaks
Oh,
and
24
lush
minutes.
valleys of the Appalachian
Okay.
Mountains lies a wilderness that has captivated the imagination of nature enthusiasts for generations. The Great Smoky Mountains National Park.
Maybe take the next.
Spanning
stop
across
to-
Tennessee
or
and North
we're
Carolina,
going- We're going into it
This
now.
expansive
Yeah,
natural
so-
haven beckons
We're
millions of
gonna buy stuff all
visitors
the time.
each year
We're getting
with its
cigarettes and what
breathtaking
else?
vistas, ancient
this is-
forests,
It's
and
alright.
abundant wildlife. However, behind its awe-inspiring beauty lies a haunting mystery that has baffled investigators and left families in anguish. In this video, we will dive into the chilling accounts of 5 individuals who vanished without a trace within the depths of the Great Smoky Mountain National Park.
Look, yeah, I'll unpack the car. Look, I'm, you know,
These
I'm so excited
enigmatic
to be there.
disappearances have gripped the public's attention, raising questions about the hidden perils that may lurk within the seemingly tranquil embrace of nature.
So interesting.
At number 5, we have Trini Lynn Gibson.
Beautiful.
16-year-old Trini Lynn Gibson was last seen on what was shaping up to be a rainy, chilly day of October 8th, 1976, at the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. According to the weather forecast, Trini thought the field trip would be canceled. She worked hard at a cafeteria at the local mall, carefully saving her earnings so she could invest in her future.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Trini was very interested
Something with the
in
dam or
plants,
something,
trees,
with the
and
water
other living
pumping.
things. So she was in the
There's a
horticulture
reservoir
class
for
at
like
community
people drinking
taught
water.
by Mr.
Sure,
Wayne
yeah.
Dunlap.
It's everything
She
you
hoped
can
later
imagine.
to
Yeah.
attend the
Generation
University of
does,
Tennessee
bro.
Right.
and study
Water
landscape
management.
architecture. When
Like
Trini
where,
arrived at Beard
Morristown?
Mountain, driven by her mother Hope, she asked a fellow student passing by if the field trip was still on or not, and she got yes as an answer.
Probably a few.
Trini was known to hide her emotions in her face, so many are unaware that she wanted her mother to come along as a
Cherokee Park
chaperone.
program.
But unfortunately, the trip was an all-day event, and
Is that
Hope did
already
not have a
advertising
babysitter for her young
like
son
part of
who had
Cher-
just
is
turned
that near, like,
6.
Cherokee National
So
Forest?
she had to back out of the
It's
trip.
not really. Well, we're gonna
The
get
students
closer
boarded
to
the
it, but
bus,
it's
and once seated, they were informed by Mr. Dunlap
a lot
that they
of
were all
Cherokee
headed
area
out to the
because
Great
it's like
Smoky
it's-
Mountains National
in our
Park.
area.
Yeah.
Trini
Story
shared a
like
seat
that.
in the back of the bus with a friend.
Yeah,
Robert
it's like
Simpson.
it's roughly close, I guess.
He was a
yeah.
senior and a close friend of Trini's brother Bob, who had graduated the previous May and was in the Navy. Bob had just come home on leave and asked Robert to keep an eye on Trini that day. She hadn't been away from home and family for an entire day before, and Bob was a bit concerned about her well-being. The bus arrived at the park around noon and parked in the Klingman's Dome lot. Mr.
Here's my new fantasy bus play. DraftKings Pick 6. Just pick up to 6 players, and if they're going to have more or less of a...
Dunlap told them their assignment was to hike to Andrews Ball and return to the bus. The students were told to observe the plants, trees, and flowers along the way. They could go as far as Andrews Ball or take side trails. On the trip, Mr. Dunlap was the only adult, with 40 teenage students. He hiked with the groups of students throughout the day, but he was one man among 40 students. At around 3 p.m.,
You know they're all
Trini was hiking alongside
Right.
another group of students a half mile from the parking lot. The other students stopped for a quick rest, but Trini wanted to keep going. As they stopped, they remembered seeing Trini walking alone in the distance before she
That's
bent down
suspicious.
and took a right turn off the trail.
But you can also be foolish
The
if you
group turned
know.
their heads when another
Why
student
would she
walked
keep
towards
going?
them.
She
When
wants
they
to walk
looked
that
back
bad.
in the
No,
opposite
they're all
direction
lying.
again, Trini was gone. When
Well,
the students
I
I
arrived
want to
back
walk
at the
so
parking
bad, I'm
lot
gonna
a
keep
half hour
going and
later,
leave everyone
they
behind.
noticed
Who does
that
that?
Trini
I
was
wanna
missing.
try.
Over the next several days,
Yeah.
a massive search in the park was performed for Trini, but she could not be found.
Yeah, because her
A
classmates.
partially opened can of
Probably
beer
killed her.
and 3 cigarette butts would be found near the spot where Trini stepped off Forney Ridge Trail, but none of the other students admitted to having brought beer on the trip. Several search dogs would pick up Trini's scent at the spot where Forney Ridge Trail intersected with the Appalachian Trail.
And
The
then
dogs tracked her scent to the base of the Klingman's Dome observation tower
that's where they-
and through the
Oh,
woods for over a mile and a half before it arrived at a road.
Oh.
The scent trail ended at a spot next to the road, and 8 cigarette butts were discovered nearby, which were the same brand as the cigarette butts found in the woods. Now, the afternoon that
cigarette
Trini
butts?
went
That's the whole
missing
group
was very foggy,
smoking them.
so it would have been easy
And they-
for her to
they
have
should
gotten lost
track
after
the
she stepped
scent
off the
too to see
trail.
if it went the same way, you know?
However, the scent trail caused speculation that Trini may have been abducted, kept hidden at the Klingman's Dome observation tower until the other students left the area, and then led through the woods to the road by her abductor
Makes sense.
and driven away from the park inside of a vehicle. Trini's family had suspicions about another student named Kelvin Bowman. Several months earlier, Kelvin had attempted to break into the Gibson home before Trini's mother shot him in the foot. Kelvin was sentenced to serve time in a correctional facility, but reportedly threatened to kill Trini once he got out. He was released after serving 6 months and was back attending Bearden High School when Trini went missing. Some students claim that they thought they saw Kelvin's car following the bus while it drove to the park, but Wayne Dunlap insisted there were no vehicles following the bus that morning. The school principal also verified that Kelvin was attending classes the entire day. Some suspicion was also directed towards Robert Simpson, as multiple witnesses reported seeing Trini's comb, which she always carried in her right hip pocket of her jeans, on the dashboard of Robert's car following her disappearance. While Trini's parents were participating in the search effort for her, Robert visited the Gibson residence. He made some odd remarks to Trini's sister about how if Kelvin Bowman had Trini, he'd kill her, and that she may have ran off with some hitchhiker. It was also difficult to account for Robert's whereabouts after separating from Trini at Andrews Bar.
Bronco.
Still, it doesn't sound like investigators considered him a serious suspect.
Oh shit.
Despite
that's
multiple
shit.
searches through the Great Smoky Mountains
Tennessee's
National
hard.
Park, Trini has yet to be found. Trini Lynn Gibson was last seen in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park at approximately 3 p.m. on October 8, 1976. She was last seen wearing a blue blouse, a pastel blue striped sweater, blue jeans, and blue Adidas shoes.
You're not finding her now.
She was also wearing a brown and orange plaid wool jacket,
Happens in
which she had borrowed from
They
Robert
find their
Simpson.
body.
Well,
She has
right.
long brown
Her
hair
face.
and green eyes, and stood 5 foot 3 inches tall and weighed 115 pounds. As of July 13th, 2023, Trini remains missing, and there have been no further updates. And at number 4, we have Thelma Pauline Melton. Thelma Pauline Melton was a 58-year-old woman from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. She was an avid hiker and was known to frequent the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Thelma went missing on September 25th, 1981, in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. She was last seen on the Appalachian Trail heading towards Spence Field. On September 25th, Thelma headed to the Deep Creek Trail in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park with her husband Bob and 2 friends. She loved the mountains and spent as much time as she could in the Smokies.
Poor lady.
One of her favorite places was the Deep Creek Trail, and she'd spent nearly 20 years visiting the location
You're like,
and
yeah,
making
right.
the hike.
This was in
Once they arrived, Bob parked their Airstream trailer and stayed inside. Due to Bob's health and age,
My kids aren't
being that he was
going out
around
with a
20 or
bunch
so
of
years
kids.
older than Thelma, he couldn't join them on most of the hiking excursions. However, Thelma and her 2 friends gladly readied themselves for a leisurely hike. The trail was listed as easy, so there was no difficult terrain to be particularly worried about. Thelma and her friends began hiking the trail, and on their way back to the campsite, she began picking up her pace and walked ahead of her friends, quickly leaving them behind. They saw her walk over a small hill and then go out of sight, and she began picking up her 2 years overlooking the hike and spent as much time as she could in the Smokies. One of her favorite places was the Deep Creek Trail, and she'd spent nearly 20 years visiting the location and making the hike. Once they arrived, Bob parked their Airstream trailer and stayed inside. Due to Bob's health and age, being that he was around 20 or so years older than Thelma, he couldn't join them on most of the hiking excursions. However, Thelma and her 2 friends gladly readied themselves for a leisurely hike. The trail was listed as easy, so there was no difficult terrain to be particularly worried about. Thelma and her friends began hiking the trail, and on their way back to the campsite, she began picking up her pace and walked ahead of her friends, quickly leaving them behind. They saw her walk over a small hill and then go out of sight, and they assumed they would see her back at the
read
trail.
the story and they're like, okay,
At
that's
around
how we'll kill
4:30
her.
p.m., they made it back to the
We'll say she
campsite.
walked ahead of us.
Bob was inside, but Thelma
Just
was
like
nowhere to
that
be
little
found,
girl, what happened to
and
little
Bob
girl
hadn't
10
seen
years
her
ago.
since she left for the hike.
But he went
Thelma's
back to the
friends
trailer.
went back to the area they last saw her,
His friend.
and they began searching for her, but were unable to locate anything that
Yeah.
pointed to the direction that she may have gone. She was reported missing at 6 p.m. that evening, and a much larger search effort was soon underway. For that week, over 150 people searched for Thelma, as well as 9 search dogs.
But none
At
of the
one
people she went
point,
missing.
a dog alerted to a downed tree, and searchers believed that she may have stopped there to rest momentarily. They didn't pick up on her scent at any other location. There are several theories surrounding Thelma's disappearance. Some believe that she may have fallen and injured herself, while others speculate that an animal may have attacked her. However, no concrete evidence has been found to support either of these theories. Thelma's family and friends described her as an experienced hiker who is physically
Join AARP for $12 for your first year when you select automatic renewal.
And your second membership is
I heard
physically
they are
fit and mentally sharp for her age.
about age.
They believed she might have become lost or injured on the
We
trail,
already talked about
or
this.
perhaps
Yeah.
suffered a medical emergency. Her pastor did advise them that she had been struggling with depression after her mother had passed away earlier in the year. She'd also been prescribed Valium in 1979 as a muscle relaxant, but had stopped taking them before 1981. Her husband's bottle of Valium was discovered to be missing after she disappeared.
Tennessee style.
However, it's never been determined that Thelma was the one who took them.
They're busy.
Thelma also suffered from high blood pressure and nausea, and was taking medication for both at the time of her disappearance.
What's a wigwam?
She didn't have any
American housing.
her ID
No, there's-
or any money with her
gas
when she
station called
vanished,
Wigwam.
just a
Wegmans?
pack of cigarettes.
It's a grocery store chain.
The Great Smoky Mountains National Park is a heavily wooded area with rugged terrain and steep elevations,
Do you think
making it challenging to search.
things money or card?
I think so, yeah.
Despite
Put it on
extensive
the inside or
searches
too?
and
Oh, no,
investigations, Thelma's disappearance remains a mystery.
Yeah.
Thelma Pauline Melton is described as a white female, approximately 5 foot 2 inches tall and weighing 140 pounds. At the time of her disappearance, she wore a pink and white blouse, tan slacks, low-cut tan shoes, and eyeglasses. She was also wearing a diamond-studded white gold wristwatch and a wedding band.
Yeah, we're staying right on this like
And
rise
at number
on this
3,
lake,
we
Douglas
have
Lake.
Derek Joseph.
It's so
Lukey.
crazy.
24-year-old Derek Joseph Lukey was last seen leaving the Microtel Inn and Suites in Cherokee, North Carolina
Oh.
at 4 a.m. on
In
March
Cherokee.
17th, 2012.
In Cherokee,
And from
that's where
then,
we're- no.
he has
No,
never
we're
been
going
seen or heard from again.
Oh, was that your second option?
And at number 3,
I love you.
Love you. I got a... Oh, my phone. Cool. You got your cigarettes?